Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Something Something podcast. My name is Eric Kasloff, and with me, as always, is Larry Sands. How's it going, Larry?
Actually, pretty good, Eric. And I might say before we start getting into everything, we've done video before, but
Yeah,
now we're starting to do video even more along with our audio platforms. So if you're happening to listen this on an audio platform, you can go to YouTube or Spotify.
Spotify, and watch us.
Watch us. Yeah, yeah. See our pretty faces and our guests too,
See, the
which
thing with me is, though, I always felt that video podcasts were just talk shows. It takes the whole thing of the podcast away.
which is kind of true, but that's just the evolution of everything. You know what? I think in this day and age, everything starts out one way and it evolves into what it's supposed to evolve into, right? Because
Yeah,
obviously doing audio, now we're video and and this is a really good thing to talk about before we get into our guests because our guests today uh, are all about evolution
yeah,
and moving along with the times, which speaks to a broader creative sense of what we as creative people, but also people in general, we have to evolve and we have to get used to things, right?
yeah.
So I don't know. But other than that, Eric, what you got going on? Hey, we got music going on for our horror
Yeah,
film.
yeah. Hillsborough Road is in the scoring stage right now. Yeah, in fact, I'm gonna be hitting up Brooks later on
Yeah,
today to see
yeah,
what the process is.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, we're so close to the finish line, it's ridiculous.
It really is. It really is. And to have it come this far is is a little bit of satisfaction, Eric, because I think
Yeah.
a lot of people kind of stop the process. But if it gets a little hard, but you got to find a way to dig in and move on,
Yeah, that's the
you
hard
know?
part.
That's the hard part, but man, that's the juice. That's the butter to the bread, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah, let's get into our guest, Larry.
I tell you what, our next guest for this episode, Ryan Ward and Grayson Berry. You guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks for
Hey,
having us, buddy.
I tell you, we've had you guys on more than once, which for us is absolutely amazing because you guys not only are creative friends, we are friends off,
Yeah.
right? Off air, off mic. And so much like obviously we don't talk every day, but we know you guys and we follow you guys on Instagram and your careers.
And then,
And
you're in our cars.
that's That's right. That's right. That's right.
Thomas, you got a weird obsession with peanut butter sandwiches, man. It's strange.
uh,
The first step is admitting you're powerless, Eric.
I love it. I love it. Hey, you guys, welcome to the show. Today we're talking really all about your film festival you guys got coming up on December 5th in Austin, Texas. What what's it like to be at this point and have a film festival? Because we're going to talk about the evolution of your film festival and why you created it. But talk to us right now as creatives, right? And knowing that you have to evolve. What's it like being able to say you guys have a film festival that is gaining traction and success?
Well, I think the biggest thing that jumps out is we had to move spaces. So we pivoted from our funeral home. So and the funeral home was fantastic. It was
Yeah.
epic. I couldn't have been happier with it, but I get no more emails from filmmakers going, hey man, I just GPSed this location. Is this a funeral home? So we're now in Firehouse Studios, which is awesome. And Scott Lopez is the owner. It's in Round Rock. It's just right on the outskirts of Austin. Beautiful space. It's a sound stage. And so Larry and Eric, what Scott has done is he's capitalizing on the best film incentives we've ever had as a state. So we have an actual sound stage where will be our main screening room, and then we've got a wonderful podcast space where we're going to be sampling our music videos and some student films. So it's exciting.
Wow.
That's very cool. And I was there. I was happy to say, and I am happy to say, I was there at the funeral home. And when me and my wife pulled up, I was like, "Oh, it's at a funeral home." So I understand. I understand. But and look, I'm the first person to be able to tell you, you got to use what's available to you
Yeah.
as a creative and as a filmmaker and as anything business wise, you got to use what you got. So, congratulations on actually doing that, but even more so, sticking with it and seeing the evolution of it, right? Um, Ryan, what's it like for you to be a part of this process and seeing that evolution?
Sure. I mean, the thing is, I think when Grayson first asked me about it, it was a whim. Like he was like, "I've had this thing in my head for a long time, and I'd like to make it happen." And I was like, "That sounds great." And then I asked what he wanted to call it, and that's when I was in. Being the
Yeah.
We Regret to Inform You Film Festival is, I think, the best branding that could have ever come out of the ether, and the fact that it really resonates with both filmmakers, and I think in general, anyone who hears it immediately goes, "Okay, so this isn't your mom and pops festivals." I was on Film Freeway the other day looking at all the different festivals, and they all have typically the same board. It's like, and I'm not going to call anybody out, but it's like they're very um generic, shall we say.
Right, right.
And so it's like, and they're focused. It's like this is a focus specifically on comedy. This is
Yeah.
specifically about drama. And that's the nice part about Grayson's vision for it was you come as you are, be wacky, be weird. Uh, if you had the wherewithal, the time, the passion to make a film, you're already on our list of you've gone above and beyond most people. And then the nice part is from there, it's getting a chance to meet these people who we've had some really wonderful people over the course of the past 2 years, and to tell their journey to getting to the festival and getting their film made has been an eye opener. So I'm going to Gray.
Yeah, well, end of the day, guys, my favorite part of it, and I think the best part of it, oddly enough, is that we get to sit there for 3 days and just take in the films. So I've been to many film festivals, including Sundance and South by, and just to be able to sit down there and take in their art and all that hard work and then talk about it and be present is my favorite part. And I think it's the
Mm,
best part and it's the simplest part, but it doesn't
mm,
it doesn't happen.
mm, mm.
You know.
Yeah,
So
that was Grayson had shared with me. It's and also many of the filmmakers over the course of the past 2 years would come up and say, I got to talk about my film for like a good 5 to 8 minutes. Like I
Wow.
wasn't rushed out of a room. There wasn't a bell, and Pavlov was telling us to go to the next room. And it's everyone gets to be met and heard and network and all those good things. It's as opposed to, someday we might have 5 rooms, and you'll get a choice of what you're going to do. But for right now, you need to follow the leaders. And the nice part is it's 10 to 10 all day long, all day strong, some fabulous red carpets,
Wow.
and I think we've got some cool food coming this year. So
we
Very
do, and then I
nice.
think the other wrinkle that's new this year is we have Austin Public Access broadcasting our award ceremony and part of our mixer. So we're bringing back our wonderful host, Melanie San Milan. Melanie will be on the red carpet interviewing all the guests, and it's cool that they get to keep this footage to market their films,
Yeah.
and the award ceremonies are fun. We like to give out a lot of awards from Don't Let the Door Hit You on the Way Out. It's one of our awards. Uh, we're moving in a different direction as our award for directors and editors, and then we'll be in touch for our actor awards.
I love that.
That's amazing. How you guys get to really dictate and set the tone. And what you guys have done, and I will, this is maybe like a two-parter, but what you guys have done is really set yourself up to be separated from Ryan, what you had said, the other film festivals. You guys are focused, correct me if I'm wrong, on not only the creative part, but the fun part. And you guys get to celebrate not just the film, because obviously it's been accepted, but you get to celebrate the filmmaker and the actors and the crew that was part of it, because really it becomes a family. And when you're able to bring all that stuff together, that's the beautiful part. So
Amen, man.
con
And we
so
have
con
some guys. Ben Gaddafi is one that comes to mind. Ryan knows Ben. Ben is doing a music video, Digital Sun, Wicked Sun.
Mhm.
It's amazing. Ben was there in year two, I think, right, Ryan? And he stayed
Yeah.
all 3 days, he and his girlfriend, and it was just fabulous that he was willing to, kick it for 3 days. Riley Hall is our other talented music video, and she came just with her mom just to hang out. And now she's got a music
Wow.
video in the festival, our first year doing music videos. So that's the stuff, man. Like you're saying.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I think if she hadn't come on the scene and shared who she is, and I hope we inspired her a little bit, but in return, we were inspired. It's like that's that girl from the last one. Look, we're doing music videos. It's gonna happen this year, and that's just great. And especially with Firehouse having two venues inside or two spaces within the same venue, having a podcast room that's large and that it creates that intimate opportunity for the music videos. Um, and I think we're really going to enjoy that dichotomy of being able to set up in the one room while everything's going on, and still enjoy all of the pieces that we do in the podcast room as well.
And I
yeah,
have to give Ryan credit for many things, but he found this space. Ryan found Firehouse Studios. He is responsible, and it could not be a cooler space, guys. And I'm not just plugging it because we're there. There's been a number of bands that have done music videos there, films. It's got this epic sort of Tarantino-esque lobby. Obviously the soundstage speaks for itself, and then that podcast studio, kitchen area, all that. And then he loves music, so he's got these badass speakers, second to none and all that. And he's over the moon. Scott's a guy who's from the tech world, found this space and was like, I have all these creative ideas and I don't know how and we're like,
hmm
dude, let's do the festival. We'll help people know where the space is at and go from there.
So now
And I will
question,
will
does
one segue really quick, Eric, is I started looking at a firehouse. Like I really did. And sadly, I found out that the firehouse was booked on the day we wanted to be there. And so it's like, oh, firehouse, firehouse. Oh, and so it literally was some kind of magic woo-woo came out of the sky and was like, oh, you want a firehouse, do you? So that was pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
so
From the
my
field to the
two
firehouse.
questions. Does the festival focus on mainly shorts, mainly features, or both?
I wish we could be that picky, Eric.
Okay.
We have it all, man. Faith-based and horror is our spectrum. And
Oh, wow.
there's going to be some people. I always think about this, and I talk to Ryan about it every year. I'm like, you think some of the more fundamentalist Christians are going to have an issue that there's horror at the same festival? We have the faith-based on Sunday, and
Well,
Yeah.
no, shorts and features was my main
sure,
question.
sure, sure, and both is the short answer.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
each night, Eric, we have something called the special feature of the night, and that is a feature that we build. We basically that's our nightly feature. We build a mixer around that film, and all their cast and crew can come, and we recognize them. It's always really hard to do because there's always so many good films. This year, we're being led off by Do Us Part by Reed Arnold. The second night is Mel House and In Betweening. He's a Houston guy, and then the third night, fittingly, is a documentary film called We Regret to Inform You.
Wait, now that came out a while ago, right? Because I was about to ask that question. Because if it's the one I'm thinking about, it was about these two filmmakers who made a movie that wasn't accepted into any festivals.
No, we'd like to have them. No.
Okay, I'll look into it. It was these two guys who made this movie that got distribution, and it was filmed all in LA called 15 Minutes. And
Hmm.
the whole thing was they submitted to Sundance, didn't get accepted, Slam Dance didn't get accepted. So they just started submitting to the smaller festivals. And it just became a whole thing about this was right around the time Sundance was changing from being, the true indie spirit of it, which I don't mind. I'm all into consumerism. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love pop music. My favorite kind of music's pop punk. I am not this indie spirit guy, but it's right when Sundance became, the big studios had their indie division, and it's all about how the changing of the festival scene. So you might want to check that out.
Well, this one happens to be about millennials who can't make it in the workplace and are having to come to grips with getting rejected from all these jobs and what the real, 9 to 5 grind looks like.
Oh wow.
Wow.
See that's
Wow.
so interesting. I think there was that kid like 3 years ago put up the video complaining about his hours at Starbucks. How it was like he was working 30 hours or something, and he was like crying about how I don't have time to spend with my friends or something.
Ah,
God
yes.
bless them.
God bless. You know, that's pretty hilarious. But Grayson, I think you bring up a good point because when you have a film festival and when Eric and I did ours, it was like you get what you get when you're in the first year. The second year, you have a little bit of a track record. Obviously, you're probably putting on Instagram, social media. By the third year, I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, I may not be, but you guys got a lot of submissions from a lot of places, I would think.
We did. Yeah, we blew by year two by a good amount of submissions. And it's funny because we want to stay what Sundance was, right, Eric?
Right.
That's where our kind of our happy place. But even with this, we're having to, we're faced with those typical challenges that come on your way, as you're making your way. It's like, do you raise prices? Do you do these things? How do you, so we want to keep it as intimate as possible and make it about the films because the truth is, I think this is statistically proven, 99% of filmmakers never make another film.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we want to encourage them to keep coming and keep bringing us films. And Rhonda Suter's another friend of mine, Ryan, who submitted one the first year, knew we were doing it again, said let me get something together. Ben Gaddafi, same thing. That's what we want to keep going, so that we're continuing to do this, building our community. And look,
And one of our actresses went ahead and made a kick-arse movie.
yes, yeah. Talk about that a little bit, Ryan, please.
Oh God. So we had the chance, Colleen Mooney, like one of the most just loveliest humans on the planet. Um, she a fantastic actress who runs the gamut emotionally, and she's just perfect, just wonderful, wonderful performer and person. And I think hopefully to some degree, her relationship with Grayson and seeing the festival and all those things, I think it sparked something in her. And she goes, I think I'm going to make a movie. And we
Wow.
said, well, what's it going to be about? She's like, I think rakes. It's going to be about rakes. And we're like, pardon? It's about what? It. I'm not going to give anything away other than just saying, uh, the raking society is just drop down funny. This is and it's tight and it's her first film. And you're
Wow.
sitting there going, this is Christopher Guest level comedy. And the characters and those little offsides, like, the girl with the with the antlers sitting on the wall behind her, and just
Oh my
really
God.
smart comedy. So we're
Wow.
we're super excited, I think, to be premiering her piece as well.
That's really cool. And actually, we should say that when you're listening to this, if you're in the Central Texas area, South Texas area, and want to go and go watch some great films over the weekend of December 5th, like where can people go and get tickets? Now, can the normals come in and go see them, or is it just for the filmmakers?
We take blood tests. That's how that works.
Is it like the scene in The Thing where everybody's sitting around and you test the blood?
That's exactly how it is. So we have our website, which we've had for years. It's We Regret to Inform You Film Fest, but we also have weregretfest.com, and that will take you to the exact same place. And the nice part is, or maybe it won't. Yes, it did. Okay, good. Just checking. Woo! Uh, Edit that. But yeah, tickets are on sale there. You can go take the hyperlink, and that will take you to Film Freeway. And the ticket prices, Grayson's been very, very good to these people because, and so has Scott. Because the thing is, like Grayson was saying, with this brand new venue, many places would sit there and go, well, you can give me $2,500 up front, and then we'll figure it out afterward. And that puts a lot of onus on selling tickets and we
Right.
have a very small team of people.
Yeah,
Um, and so having a partner like Scott and having prices still being able to be super respectfully low
yeah,
is that's, as Grayson was saying, that's where we want to stay. I don't want to feel like I've shelled out $150 uh, for one day just so I can, see my film on
right.
screen. And
Yeah,
additionally, for the local people in Austin who this might be their first foray into going to an independent film festival, they're like, it's only that much for the whole day? Like,
yeah,
not just one film, the whole
yeah,
day?
yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
very cool. I mean, you guys, obviously it's not lost on you guys because you guys are creatives. You guys are actually you guys are filmmakers in your own right,
exactly.
obviously. And I like Grayson that you said and Eric you pointed out. Obviously the evolution of film festivals starts at Sundance and then all of a sudden it becomes this big thing that nobody can get into unless you're Netflix or studio films, and then it becomes a little out of reach, and there is a reason filmmakers don't do another film because it's so hard. They don't get the it's not respect. They don't get to be able to celebrate like what they
Mhm.
see on TV, on Entertainment Tonight, on these shows. And you guys are true independent filmmakers, but entrepreneurs too. Because let's not forget, in this day and age, a filmmaker has to be an entrepreneur.
Well, there's this great book called The Filmtrepreneur by this podcast that I really like. And the whole thing of the book is when you're an independent filmmaker, the movie isn't just the only thing. The great example he uses is okay, let's say you want to make a romantic comedy. You niche down. What if you made a romantic comedy about a vegan chef who falls in love with a barbecue chef? That's niche. Then the next niche is you put out a cookbook based on some of the stuff in the movie. Then you get like a TikToker or someone who will promote it. That's being a film entrepreneur. You're not just the movie. It's like, okay, we've niched down so that people might not like the movie, but hey, that's a pretty good cookbook.
Hmm.
So there's that other revenue stream coming in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to. You have to. You really have to evolve because and I've known Grayson from LA, my LA days. We were in a show together in Hollywood, a one act, and as an actor. And Grayson, you can share anything you want, but I know for me, as an actor, you have to evolve. You have to find ways to be your film entrepreneur. What do you call it, Eric?
It's called the Filmtrepreneur, the book
Thank you.
and the yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and you have to find ways, and then I know for me, I picked up a camera and I started editing and I became a behind the scenes guy. Now I'm the guy that says, "Hey, let's go make this." And now I get to cast and do that. So, I guess what I'm saying is I don't have to wait to be cast in things. And I think, with Grayson, what you're doing, with Grayson Berry Productions and doing you and Ryan are obviously like business partners and producing partners. And you have several films that you guys have made and created, and you guys have found a way to evolve. And I think that's a special thing. Can you talk a little bit about that evolution?
Yeah, well, yeah, I use the business term loosely because at the end of the day, Ryan and I, we met with a distributor the other day, and great guy, great company. And he said, after a bunch of hullabaloo, he said, "Look, these two films, one was the Hallmark film, Ryan, Where Fireflies Dance, and the other was Ryan's film that he wrote and directed, Carlton Taylor Has Major Problems." He said, "Look, man, you're making entertaining films." He's like, so many filmmakers that I talk to in these meetings come to me with their high art concept, high concept stuff, and say it's about this very nichey sort of high art thing. He's like, you just made entertaining films, like, because the production value is not out, through the roof, fantastic, in a couple places. And he's like, doesn't matter. He's like, it's entertaining. And that's at the end of the day what we're trying to do. I think other people are too. I'm not saying we're unique. I just think, Eric, you talked about the film entrepreneur, and that's, I love the franchising idea and that George Lucas mindset of making it marketable, the cookbooks and all those things. But really, you're an artist who's having to meet the commerce side of things, and you suck at it, right? That's the other part, is like, I don't know how any of this stuff works, man. We're just sort of figuring it out as we go. But
Right.
but then you are with it through the whole thing. So you do have a whole new freaking outlook, Larry. When you get on set as an actor or fortunate enough to get an acting gig, you're like, oh shit, I'm on vacation. Like, like
Right.
I'm not having to like worry about firing somebody on set who's not carrying their weight, or like whatever the deal is. It's like, this is amazing. So yeah, but I think that's where faith comes in. And like, Colleen, Ryan brought up earlier, like Colleen has been frustrated that the older actress, old, when I say older, she's like late 40s, plays mom,
Right.
whatever. She's been hitting her head on the ceiling forever, and she's been in our class, and I'm like, I feel so bad. She's just booked a major role, by the way. So I'm so happy.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
Thanks.
so freaking happy for her, Colleen. But she goes out and she's like, I'm just going to make this movie. And then after she did, she's like, I think I'm going to let go of my agent who doesn't do anything for me.
Hmm.
And that
Wow.
whole thing of like, oh yeah, like, so my point, I guess, in that whole thing is like, if you are, whatever your faith, if you are able to do other things, then you need to be doing them.
Amen.
Mm.
Amen. Amen. And I think this is for every actor out there that's listening to this. You have to find a way to evolve. And it's something to be said when you realize you have your agent who doesn't do much or not doing anything to further your career, because agents, I think, are probably so focused on your niche. They see you one way and that's it. And anything that comes through, and if nothing else, but when you take your career in and you grab those reins and you figure out who you are and what your lane is, and you may have several, three or four different lanes, but once you find that, then your eyes become open
Yeah.
to everything else around you, and you start looking at it differently, because once you start to become business mindset and meld with that creative mindset, then you think, man, I can do anything. Which brings us back around to your guys' film festival. what films are you guys? Because look, this is the crazy part about the entertainment world. Filmmaking is you make it, you put it out, you get a slap on the back, you get an award, you get this, you get that, and then the next day you're back to the grind. You're putting up your next film, you're getting ready to shoot, you're getting ready to do this, you're doing that. So, looking ahead, when do your submissions open for the next film festival, and when do they close?
They'll begin the day after.
Okay.
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah, man. On Monday the 8th, we're gonna do our best to get on Film Freeway and open those submissions back up and start talking about expanding to other spaces and stuff.
I love it.
But
But
yeah,
this
so
is
we
like
have
a year-round thing for you guys. This isn't just a hobby, it's a passion and eventually will be a part of the career, where it's, hey, this is the two things that we do.
and
Well,
I
at some point, we'd like it to be that vacation for us too. Is we love the submissions, we love meeting with the filmmakers, but there's a lot of other work that both Grace and I are doing in the
Yep.
background.
Yep.
It's a lot of tedium. It's a lot of taking it away from his performing and other things he's working on and other productions he's doing, so it's hard. But the nice part, as we grow, that's the beauty of it, is we can bring on other people and they
Yeah.
can do, like Grayson was saying a little bit, it's like there is somebody out there who wakes up every morning and says, I can't wait to get on the social media and tell the world. And Grayson and I are like, we have to do it. And it's going to be great. And we've got we've got a couple services that send stuff out, but you need, it's like basically you put a schedule together in your head and it's a full year and you
Yeah.
say, okay, we have to hit this by this by this by this by and even like sponsors and the step and repeat and the red carpet and who are we bringing in for food and all of those things,
Yeah.
start to build as you get toward the end of it. So
Yeah.
it'll be nice at some point when we can have a few other hands doing the things, and that gives us a chance to be a little more what we're both good at is producing and delegating responsibility to other people who that's their thing. As you were, I think both of you were saying, is like we've got somebody who's a fabulous grip, right? And that grip could just come in and be like, I'm going to set this up, I'm going to do that,
Mm.
I'm going to. It's like that's awesome because Grayson and I are getting to a certain age where we don't want to pick things up and put them down all the time. So
well,
just saying.
the other thing is like, I'm not a fan of networking. I'm not really good at it. And I'm not a huge fan of social media, if I'm being totally honest. But what I've seen with this film festival, guys, is that it's sort of working. Like Danny Harper, who Ryan knows from her film festival on the East Coast. She's doing a film with us, We Three, directed by Daniel Sinisi. But
Mhm.
she's come around and I know her from social media. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
Abraham Yehuda. Ryan, you remember Abraham from
I
Two Points
do.
in the
Yeah.
Restaurant?
He
So
was
he's
great.
back with 10. We couldn't screen his film, A Few Seconds of Violence. The first year he submitted, we were just too packed. But this year we're screening it. So it's like all these people, man. And I mean, we want
Mm.
to be making movies with these people. I mean, and Larry, I was thinking about, the Isaac project. You were talking about
Yeah.
commerce and people making one film and things like that and being bitter because it didn't work out or they're
Yeah.
hitting obstacles. And it's like Isaac's a great example. For those, Eric, Isaac Laughlin is a friend of mine. And he's a Navy guy who basically got his Navy buddies, got his speedboat, and went out in Hurricane Harvey in Houston, the biggest hurricane we've had, and saved lives,
Oh,
basically.
wow.
Basically. But he also has another caveat to the story. He lost his wife tragically to cancer
Oh,
and sort of perseveres through that. And it's called Ordinary Everyday Average Hero. And the idea being, anybody can step up on a given day and be a hero, right? But Larry, had Isaac gone somewhere else and gotten, let's say, screwed over or whatever, and it didn't go well, maybe he spends quadruple what he would have spent with us or whatever. Those are the people, man, that your heart goes out to, and you're like, God, if we just gotten a hold of them,
Yeah.
filmmakers whatever projects. I think you know
We
where I'm.
run into that all the time, especially, and even people who want to invest in you, who just want to be part of that investment process, and because they believe in us, they believe in the stories, they believe in Grayson, they believe in me, they believe in the process. But so many, and we've had many of them be like, dude, I invested over $250,000 in a film and I never saw a dime
Right,
and it didn't
right,
work
Wow.
out. And it was because not because the film, but, well, sometimes it's because the film wasn't good, but more than anything, it's because the people behind the scenes, like Grace and myself, putting those people out there
right,
are ones that for lack of a term, unscrupulous. And they're like, I'm just going to take all your money and use all of it up, as opposed to being very, it's exceptional. Like when Grayson put together Where Fireflies Dance with Ted, is it, we had a really wonderful tight schedule, but with the budget, and it was a great budget, but at the same time, Grayson was able to take that budget and make a film that looks like this. And no one in a million years would go, it's on that amount of money. That's
right,
amazing.
right,
And so
right.
that's exciting too. That's a superpower. That's a
Yeah.
superpower because we meet so many people that we work with, even that we can't work with anymore because they don't want to be independent filmmakers and they don't want to be part of an independent film. They want to make the movies.
Right,
And so they
right,
want to make the biggest dime for their dollar. They want to sit around on their phone. They want to complain about sitting around on their phone. Uh, but they don't want to be like we're sitting there going, this is amazing. We're doing it. It's really coming together. Instead, it's like, so when's lunch? When do we get to go on break?
right, right,
That's not
right.
cool. You don't want that kind of
Yeah.
energy on set.
No, no. And actually, to go along with that, Eric, you and I were talking on the phone a couple days ago, and we were just talking kind of like this is I will say that when you make things look easy, when you watch Instagram, when you watch TikTok, when you
Oh,
watch
yeah.
YouTube, and you make things look easy, people look at it and go, man, I could do that.
Yeah.
And then they do it, and then 4 or 5 takes into it, go, screw it, man. I'm
Hmm.
not doing this because it's not coming out like I want. It's not doing this. It's not doing. There's a reason that happens because there's a process to this, and you have to love the process. Because
Yeah.
let's face it, when you get on set, when you sit down to go write your book, your movie, when you go on set, when you start casting, when you start picking people, and then things start dropping away, then that's when you find out who's really, well, not who's with you, but how much you really want to do it.
Hmm.
And you guys are the epitome of look, I'm not under any impression in any show that we will ever do with any guests. I don't care because I talk about it myself. Me, myself, I'm doing 15 different things just to try to get one thing done and accomplished
Yeah.
because it's hard. Being a creative is hard. Being a creative with the responsibility that you guys have because you guys are now in that middle tier, upper to middle tier because you guys have the films. You guys have that visual to put out and instead of somebody go, "Well, what does it look like?" Go, I got two of what it looks like and here's what we did it for. Now the conversation turns to, you guys seem like the real deal.
Yeah.
So let's talk turkey, let's talk money, and that's what you want as a filmmaker. But so many people stop when it's hard. And that's good for us because, when you have a passion and you want to do it,
I
it
was
kind of weeds itself out.
I was thinking about this today before this podcast, guys. Ryan wrote and directed this brilliant film, and I think it's going to get more brilliant as time goes on. I think it's a cult classic, and I've talked to a producer in particular who I've worked with before on Monkey's Paw and some other things, who was in love with Ryan, particularly his performance thinks he's Zero Mistel.
And his
But
body.
my point is, Ryan, I think about our March shoot, and we're driving in the snow, and Ryan, the front of Ryan's car carrier goes out, and so we're scraping snow, just building up snow into that grill. We have to pull over, and Ryan is on the ground on his back, duct taping this auto carriage onto his car in 30-degree New Jersey weather so that we can get to the film shoot on time. That is, in a nutshell, what a real filmmaker looks like.
We didn't call an Uber. That's what it comes to.
And then
it happened on the way back, which was great too.
On the way back, look, I mean, we literally hit one bump, boom, it's down again. Right?
I love that.
We're literally just scraping stuff. Well, maybe it'll just scrape itself off, and we'll have enough room to clip now. So we go to the Wawa, and we buy a bunch of zip ties. So Ryan is now on his back. I mean, I can barely.
They didn't have the big zip ties. They were this long. So Grayson is helping me connect zip ties so we can have one good zip tie.
For anybody not in the tri-state area, Wawa is a gas station that has some of the best food you will ever have.
That's right.
I hope they bring back the make any shake thing, because that was amazing.
Well, maybe we could get sponsored by Wawa after this story as
There
well.
you go.
But circling back really quickly to the film festival, there's something that Grayson says to our students specifically all the time. And I think this translates even farther to, what you were saying, Larry, a little bit about, the style and the look and all those things. Grayson always says, get out your phone. Everybody's got one. Make a film. Make a film with your phone. Because the thing is, yes, we could always use the idea of the Blair Witch Project, right? It always comes back to that. But a good film is a good film. Yeah. And if you don't have to, and I think that's the mindset that we run into a lot. And I'm not putting anyone down for any kind of education that they want to get, but we've encountered a lot of the time, because they've been so boxed in by whatever the traditional film school tells you to do, and that you're not allowed to do this, and you're not allowed to think this way, and you should never use this kind of equipment, and all those things. It kind of knocks the creativity out of the person. So when they do maybe get this epiphany of, I want to make this film, but I don't have 35 RE cameras, and I don't have this, and it's like, get a tree, get some rope, and go. I mean, and I think Colleen, I don't know, I didn't get to see the behind the scenes of her movie, but I mean, it's just perfect the way it is, and it's just simple. It's just storytelling and acting and good writing. That's all you need. That's the ingredients. Bad acting is the worst ingredient. Never have that. And as long as you don't have that, you're good. No one wants to watch bad acting unless that's the goal.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it is true. Everybody has a phone. And in this day and age, when I hear somebody go, well, I got to have this, I got to have that, I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't prescribe to that way of thinking, because if you want to do it, you're going to do it. Much like zip tying, but that's the epitome, and I think it speaks to the greater of who you guys are as people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But also the creative part of you guys, and I think part and parcel. That's why you guys are where you are, because you don't stop. And look, for better or worse, you started at a funeral home. Excellent. And now look.
You can only go up from there.
Exactly,
Very true. Very true.
From grave to womb. Yes, we're going backwards. We're Baron Munchausen. We're going to get younger too, and more beautiful.
That's right. You guys are the Benjamin Buttons of film festivals.
Well, that's the truth. Because the thing is, if somebody went out with their camera and just did the thing and sent it to us, I mean, we sit there oftentimes go, "What the heck is this? This is awesome." And there's some that are just beautifully weird.
Yeah.
And there's some that we're not choosing it because it's glossy. We're not choosing it because the prettiest people are in it. We're not choosing, for a lot of I guess now I can finally go to my checkbox thing is, Grayson always told me from the very beginning, he's like, you don't understand, Ryan. Like these film festivals have an agenda. Whether it's like each year they have an agenda. They have a checkbox, whatever they're trying to get you to prescribe to.
Mm,
Um, they say we need this and we need that and we need this. And if you don't fall into those categories, like many of our amazing filmmakers do, you're never going to get seen. And
right.
that's just a shame. So
Yeah.
we've tried to blow up the checkbox and say,
Yeah.
send us your weird, your wonderful, your wild, your freaky, and your fun.
And you got them, I'm
I'm gonna
sure.
get that on a shirt.
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
that.
Exactly. And really, I know like you guys have been so wonderful to hang on the podcast and talk. But before we start to wrap up, let's talk a little bit very quickly, Grayson, because you brought up something, about genres. You guys accept like comedies, dramas, documentaries, music, videos, but also horror and Christian. And Eric and I, we met at church,
Yeah, that's like
and
right at my realm,
it,
Christian and
and
horror.
horror. I mean, who doesn't love to go to church on Sunday and then Sunday night turn on a good horror film, right? Or Monday, right? Which I think is it speaks to it really speaks to there's all kinds of people out there, all kind of creatives, and when you can get over your your thought process of what you're boxed into, I think you're going to be better off because even though Eric, you wrote a really a killer horror film, right? And we were
Thank
killing
you.
people and chopping people and cutting.
Well, I
It's
always
just
have to say this. I spent years working in youth ministry with teenagers, so I've come up with a lot of ways to murder teenagers.
and
If
that's on
you've
film.
ever been on a big, tour bus going to San Diego with a lot of teenagers, you figure out, you just start imagining ways to kill them. And it is
Maybe we should
so
cut all that out.
satisfying.
Maybe, maybe.
Don't cut that out.
The
That's right.
on Dateline, they're like, and he confessed right on camera.
Robert Durst.
Right. Our next podcast, Eric will be in prison on the phone.
Of course.
No, but honestly,
Uh,
like it,
No,
it
but they would
is.
never catch me. The Elmwood Park slasher has been going on for years. They'll never find me.
I don't know how to recover from that.
Great
But
plot from the media.
I think we do one thing. I firstly, Larry, I don't know if you've seen our promo yet. We've got a lot
no.
more social media stuff going on today. I'm
Oh,
releasing it by the end of the day.
okay. Okay.
It highlights every single one of our filmmakers on every single
Wow.
day, showing their poster, being like, "Here
Wow.
they to the
Yeah.
thing." And so we're going to be sending out a lot of that. We'll love to send you our PSA. You are
Send it.
in the PSA, buddy.
Who, me?
Standing next to this guy and me. Yeah.
Really?
Oh
Awesome.
yeah. Yeah. Front and center.
Look, tag us on, and this goes for everybody. If you're listening to this, links will be in the description. I just took
Yeah.
your, and Eric, we
Yeah.
do have to get you a t-shirt. Links are in the
Links in
description.
the description. Kind of
But
like when Joe Rogan asked the guy to pull up a video. I forget the guy's name. It's Andy.
Jamie.
Jamie, could you pull up the video?
I could
every
probably do it if you had the woo, I could.
Look, you guys have to tag us and everything. All your guys' links, where to submit,
Mhm.
where to get tickets, your Instagram, all your social medias, tag us. We will repost. Honestly, I can say, and I speak, I think, for Eric, that we are your biggest fans. We are your biggest cheerleaders, and we would bend over backwards
I'm
to
gonna
help you
jump the
guys.
line and say something, Larry. We are such big fans. All of the winners, we want them on the podcast. We'll figure out
Oh,
a
that'd be
Oh,
way
great,
yeah.
man.
to have
Yeah.
them all on. If
Yeah.
it's individual or
Or collectively.
however,
Yeah.
we want to be pretty much the official podcast of
Yeah.
this
We better
festival.
Yeah.
good job, Gray.
No,
You
no,
don't
no. I'm
know what
dead
that podcast, you
serious.
don't know what that film festival is like. Ah, God.
No, because I think that'll be a great thing for the filmmakers
Yeah,
because getting exposure as a filmmaker is a tough
is a
thing. And,
thing. Yeah,
now being able to be in a festival and then this, in fact, we'll have the winners and then everybody who was nominated, we'll do a
yeah.
special thing with them. So that
We've
way
got to. Yeah,
everybody could feel important because making a movie is, going in the battle. And when you're able to come out with all of your limbs intact, that's huge. And to have that whole thing of someone, taking your art and putting it on the refrigerator, that does a lot for you. It
yeah,
encourages you. And
yeah,
then having someone take interest in wanting to talk to you about it, it helps even more and it encourages people. I mean, I would much rather have people go out there and want to be filmmakers than content creators.
yeah, yeah. Very
Oh,
true. Very true.
amen to that, brother.
Very
I mean,
true. Very true.
I always wonder because that's the one thing I could have, I was very technological as a young man, just as the YouTube was happening. And I always think to myself, it's like, you ask me a question, man, you won't get me to shut up. But but I can't imagine being a content creator and being like, so today, what am I going to talk about in my tiny little pod and hope that
Right.
the world cares? It sounds awful, is what it sounds. But if you have someone like Grayson inspired me to write my first script, I never would have probably ever written a screenplay. I've written a lot of plays, but he was like, why don't you just do something that tells a story? Maybe we could be the leads. And I was like, okay, well, the only thing I could possibly do is make sure that Grayson gets a chance to be a spaceman and a cowboy and a like all of the things that kids, dream of their and so hopefully and so that's why the movie is fun for us is because he in asking that allowed me to not go niche, to not be like, well, I'm going to write a movie that it has to be immediately profitable and it's got to be contemporaneous and it has to speak to power. And it's like, because I'm in that world all the time with other people. Like it's always about, you know, being overly strategic.
Right.
This was like be a kid, then put a camera on it and let it go. And that's where we're at. And I hope that that's the kind of freedom that we have both for the people who come to the film festival, but also I'm certain that the people who come who are not filmmakers to the film festival, like Colleen, will come to this film festival and go, I am ready. I want to make that change. I want to tell whatever story I have in my head. And if we can even do that with this film festival, then that's what the job is. That's the joy of it too. If they come back and say, I got a movie, I got it. It's like, cool. Let's see what you got. And we've
Wow.
had some
Yeah.
wacky wild ones, man, and we love them. We just love everybody. Their stuff, their
Wow.
work is great.
No, we're running short on time, guys, but I think the dream of
Yes.
dreams is to pick up the John Hughes torch,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Mm.
make those movies again, those middle $5 million darlings that don't exist anymore because now it's Pixar, Marvel, and
Right.
not much else.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to say, hey, let's make those movies again about our, not only our generation but just young people in general, man, and make them entertaining.
Wow. Ryan, Grayson, we regret to inform you is probably one of the best taglines that you could ever hear as a filmmaker that's submitting to a film festival that matters. And you help the filmmaker matter, but even more so, you inspire people. And I think that is probably the most wonderful thing that
Yeah.
you guys could ever do is inspire people to be who they are and tell them it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to do this. It's okay to do that because it looks beautiful. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful thing, and you guys are two beautiful people. We love you guys. Tag us in everything you got. December 5th. Oh, and by the way, we are setting up an Instagram live coming up sometime in November 19th. Just follow our social medias and you can go back and watch it and everything. But you guys, thank you. Thank you, honestly. Thank you for being who you are.
Thank you guys for having us. Can't tell you what it means to us to have you guys. Thank you.
Thank you
Absolutely. Thank
guys
you, guys.
so much. Thomas, Grayson, we want to thank you again for coming on. And like we say each and every week, remember everybody, support New Life Village.